Pua was lazily snuffling through the sand, trying to find something to eat, while Heihei, of course, was causing chaos by pecking at the sand, convinced tiny worms were hiding in there. The ocean, as it always did, seemed to be in one of its playful moods today. It rolled in gently, teasing the shore, then pulled back in a way that almost felt like it was inviting Moana to come in and play. The waves glistened under the sun, looking as mischievous as ever. "All right, Ocean," Moana said, narrowing her eyes at the water. "I know you've got something up your sleeve today. Let's see what you've got." Just as if the ocean heard her challenge, a huge wave suddenly rose out of nowhere, splashing her from head to toe. She let out a yelp, flinging her arms in the air as she was drenched in salt water. "Really?" Moana laughed, wiping the water from her face. "That's how it's gonna be?" Pua snorted from the sand, clearly enjoying her frustration. Heihei, too, cawed in approval, but Moana wasn't having it. "Oh no, you're not getting away with that one." With a defiant grin, Moana marched right into the surf, her sandals long forgotten in the sand. She waded deeper and deeper until the water was up to her waist. "You think you're funny?" she called out to the ocean, hands on her hips. "Let's see if you can keep up." The ocean, never one to back down from a challenge, sent another wave her way, this time a much larger one. Moana braced herself, expecting to be knocked over again, but this time she was ready. As the wave approached, she jumped, twisting midair to avoid being swamped by the force of the water. Splash. The wave crashed over her anyway, but Moana managed to stay on her feet, laughing at the sheer audacity of it all. "Oh, so you think you can outplay me?" she called, half to the ocean, half to herself. She was ready for round two. She turned, looking back at the shore, and saw a cluster of palm trees bending slightly in the wind. "All right, Ocean. You've asked for it," she muttered, wading further into the water. She raised her arms above her head and began to spin, her feet stirring up the water in a dizzying whirl. Her laughter echoed through the air as she twirled in a mock dance, the waves churning around her like they couldn't keep up with her movements. But then, whoosh! A surprise wave crashed beneath her, lifting Moana off her feet and sending her into a full somersault. She squealed in both shock and delight as she flipped through the air, landing flat on her back with a loud splat. "Oh, you think that's funny, do you?" she said, laughing as she lay there, staring up at the sky. The ocean had absolutely gotten the better of her, but she wasn't going to admit it. Before she could get up, another playful surge from the ocean swirled around her legs, pulling her back into the water just as she tried to rise. Okay, Moana said, half in protest, half in amusement. "You've definitely got me today, but we're not done yet." Just as she regained her footing, the water rose higher than ever before, but this time it wasn't aiming to knock her over. Instead, the waves seemed to be pushing her forward, as if urging her to race the water itself. "Is this your idea of a game, Ocean?" Moana grinned. "All right, I'm game." She took off, running along the shoreline, dodging the waves as they chased her, lapping at her ankles, her calves, even her knees, but never quite catching up. Pua had trotted over to watch, his little pig face full of curiosity as he rooted through the sand. Heihei, on the other hand, had decided that Moana's run looked suspiciously like a good reason to chase after her. With a loud squawk, Heihei flapped his wings furiously, hopping around in a circle before diving straight into the waves. "No, Heihei," Moana shouted with a laugh. "The ocean's not a playground for chickens." But it was too late. Heihei had already plopped straight into the water, flapping around like a mad bird. Moana doubled over in laughter as Heihei's little wings failed to keep him afloat, and the ocean, ever so kind, sent a wave that knocked him on his back. The chicken flailed about, feathers flying as the water dragged him back to shore. "Looks like the ocean's got your number, buddy," Moana said, wiping tears of laughter from her eyes. But the ocean wasn't done yet. It sent one more playful surge at Moana, catching her off guard and pulling her straight into a gentle roll. Moana, still laughing, let herself tumble with the water, eventually standing and brushing off the sand. She looked out at the horizon, still catching her breath. "All right, Ocean," she said, her voice full of mischief. "I admit defeat. But next time, I'm bringing my A game." The waves rolled in one last time, like a playful pat on the back, and Moana smiled. She knew one thing for sure. No matter how naughty the ocean got, it would always be her favorite companion. As she walked back to shore, a soggy Heihei trailing behind her, Moana couldn't help but grin. Maybe the ocean had won this round, but she'd be back for another challenge. After all, the best adventures were always the ones that made you laugh the hardest.